Wahine Sambos are riding a wave, having won 8 straight matches, including 2 wins over USC and 2 5-0 shutouts of Nebraska. After playing 6 matches in 2 days this past weekend, head coach Jeff Hall has the Wahine focused and fired up for a single primetime matchup under the lights on campus. The Cornhuskers of Nebraska are struggling, and they face a streaking Hawaii team. Spectrum Sports is serving up Rainbow Wahine Beach Volleyball. A very pleasant good evening from the Ching Complex Beach Volleyball Courts on the campus of the University of Hawaii. It's fun in the sand as the third-ranked Rainbow Wahine take on the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Hi, everybody. Scott Robbs along with Lisa Strand-Ma'a, and Hawaii comes in red hot, having won 8 of their last 8 matches, including going 6-0 at the very prestigious Outrigger Invitational at Queens this past weekend.
Well, it was a hot weekend for Hawaii. They beat the defending national champion, USC, with their record currently at 13-3. Now tonight taking on the Cornhuskers, who are national champions indoors in another dual matchup.
We'll see the flights 1 and 2, so the top 2 pairs for both teams coming up.
That's right. Playing the number 1 slot, we got Emily Maglio with Kaiwi Schucht. They're playing after this first match we're going to broadcast, but right behind us warming up we have Carly Kahn, a senior, playing with Laurel Weaver in the number 2 slot. And those 2 matches are coming up next here on Spectrum Sports. You know, it's interesting. These 2 teams faced each other twice this past weekend. Hawaii won fairly handily both times. Well, it's a completely different game. You got an indoor national champ, and then you got Hawaii, who's climbing up the ranks and really developing their beach program.
To get more on tonight's matchup between Hawaii and Nebraska, we throw it over to our 3rd member of the team, Ryan Kalei-Suji.
Hey, thanks, Scott and Lisa. That's right, the Rainbow Wahine volleyball team playing hot right now, coming off those big wins against USC and Grand Canyon. Now, in this first matchup, Kahn and Weaver playing extremely well. I talked to the coaching staff before the matchup, and they said that these 2 players may be undersized, but they're playing great defense. They're playing great together. Weaver actually coming off of an injury she sustained on Sunday night against USC, but doctors cleared her. She looks healthy during warm-up, so these 2 players are ready to go. Now, following this matchup against Nebraska, both of these, Hawaii actually will be traveling to South Carolina, and this is sort of a warm-up for the team for the postseason play against in the national championship in Alabama. So this next trip coming up for the Wahine, a great precursor to get them ready for tonight. Now, the conditions here on the beach, it's a little chilly. You'll notice around a lot of people wearing jackets, windy, slight wind coming from Malka to Makai. We'll see if weather at all is a factor going into this matchup. We'll have more from the sand throughout the match. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. It's time now for the Hawaiian FCU starting lineup. Flight 5, you have Haver-Schmidt versus Lapani and Drews for Hawaii. Ozzie and Homayan in the 4th flight for UH against McLennan and Densberger. Flight number 3, Martin and Lutis for UH, Jazz Sweet and Sammy Slaughter for Nebraska. Coming up in flight number 2 momentarily, Annika Albrecht and Kenzie Maloney versus Hawaii's Laurel Weaver and Carly Kahn. And a bit later, the number 1 flight, the top teams, Lauren Stivrins and Kelly Hunter versus Emily Maglio and Kaiwi Schucht. So there you see the 5 flights that are going to go on. We'll show you 2 and we'll show you 1. And there you see the 2 Hawaii pairs getting ready to get out on the sand. And Ryan mentioned the weather. Pretty windy here. A little chilly, I guess, for us Hawaii people, but Hawaii dressed warm. You look at Nebraska, this is a great night for them.
Hey, they're loving it. They were down in Waikiki playing in the hot sand. They all had their sand socks on. In Hawaii, this is cool temperatures for Hawaii.
Hawaii comes in 13-3 on the year, ranked 3rd in the country. The poll came out yesterday. Nebraska at 3-11, and Nebraska, a team that uses this basically as a cross trainer for the indoor team, which claimed the national championship in 2017.
Well, Nebraska, you know, they've lengthened their season this year. Last year it was actually 4 weeks long. This year it's going to be about 6 weeks long, and they are learning and growing and really truly getting better as their season is progressing here in Hawaii. Trust me when I say they've had their fill of volleyball.
You saw Jeff Hall there. You see Nebraska's Tyler Hildebrand, who actually will be leaving after tonight.
That's right. He's taken the job of USA Beach Development Coordinator. And so it's a big jump for him. He's only been at Nebraska for a year now. This makes it a year. This is his last coaching stint with the team.
Of course, he was a great indoor player at Long Beach State. White fans got a chance to see him many, many times. So we're about ready to begin action here at the Ching Beach Volleyball Courts, as the Sambos will be going from our left to right. Nebraska in the red, Hawaii in the white T-shirts.
So very interestingly enough, Kenzie Malong, the 5'8 junior, played as their libero back to serve. They've got this wind in their face and the serve.
Bumped over on the right side. Weaver gets it to fall. Laurel Weaver, 5'11 senior out of Winnetka, California. Began her collegiate career at UCLA. Played at UCLA for a couple of years before heading out here last season, where she played the Flight 3 with Emily Maglio. They'll bump it up to Albrecht. Rolled over where nobody's at. She gets it down.
Now Albrecht, just a stellar story. At 6 foot, she's one of the seniors on the team. She was homeschooled, but she's played in every set under John Cook. Just amazing athlete.
Yeah, played every set indoors for all 4 years. Only the third Cornhusker to do that in the John Cook era, which began in 2017. That one will go off the tape and it will fall in for a point.
And again, Nebraska playing a lot of volleyball this week here in the islands. This venue, truly a good area for them. It's cooler. They're playing under the night lights. I think it's an advantage for them to be playing in the evening time.
Bump it up over to Kahn. She also started her college career somewhere else indoors. University of Missouri, a 3-time All-American. There's a nice hit down by Maloney. But of course she has local ties, going to Punahou, and her father Daryl, well known in the sports community with orthopedics.
Yeah, and Carly Kahn, just there, Linda and Daryl Kahn are sitting there in the cool weather cheering on their daughter. I'm sure they're happy she's come home to play in front of them and the fans in the stands.
Nice pokey, nice dig by Maloney. They'll give it back to her. Rolls it down the line, but wide and out of bounds.
And those are the little things, the ball control things that Nebraska may struggle a little bit with. Nebraska known for being a tough serving team, not necessarily a ball handling team with doubles.
Kahn serves it down the left side, the 5'9 senior. Here's Albrecht, rolls it up, dug up nicely by Weaver. They go back to Laurel, and she hits that one too far.
One of the biggest differences in sand volleyball and indoor volleyball is the size of the court. So this court is actually a little smaller, a foot around on each dimension, as well as the ball that they're using. It's a completely different ball.
So it goes long. Also keep in mind, they only played at 21, and as you'll see, they'll flip sides at 7. Every increment of 7 points to make it fairer, I guess you could say. They'll turn around and they'll go the opposite direction. So now Hawaii will be serving into the win.
That's right. And one of the other things with sand volleyball is that you'll notice the coaches can only talk to the players when they're changing sides or in a timeout. Other than that, they are not allowed to coach from the sidelines.
Yeah, the coaches can't even call the timeout, right? The players have to call the timeout. But I understand that coaches now, after these, it's the 7th year of this being a sport at the collegiate level, they found different words to use that kind of infers like, oh, maybe you should call a timeout.
Yeah, there's little workarounds, if you will. I'm sure they've got their little systems. Everybody seems to figure it out.
So 5-3 Nebraska here in the second flight. And a nice put down by Carly Kahn, who got a degree in finance at Missouri and pursuing her master's in kinesiology now.
Yeah, she's been playing really well here. She takes that first ball, first great contact. She sees the blocker pull, and she goes down the line.
That's the ace right there. By the way, Kahn and Weaver so far this year in duels, 8-7.
8-7, but playing really well together. They're very competitive. They're both seniors, of course, and coming from other programs, they seem to find a nice matchup.
There's an ace by Kahn. Splits the defenders.
And again, home court advantage, serving into the wind. She's serving a jump float. It's staying a little bit longer in the air, and they call that the husband-wife serve. It went right down the middle of the court, creating confusion.
Jeff Hall said he thought that the wind tonight would be a big factor in the favor of Hawaii, having practiced here most of the time. That one lands in the back row, just inside the end line.
And she's kind of slicing and dicing. That's 4 points in a row, a 4-point run for Carly Kahn.
So we'll see if Con can make it a 5-0 run. Gets that one over, handled by the Huskers. Bumped up to Maloney and gets it past the diving Con for the point.
And Maloney, the captain of her team out here, she was awarded the best defender in the Outrigger Challenge this past weekend. That says a lot for this young lady. So of all the teams that were here.
Con waits, attacks. Let's take a look now at the Kaiser Permanente keys to the match.
And for the keys to the match for Nebraska, it's been a little backwards here. I picked that they need to start with their serve. They're a great serving team, and Albrecht is one of their service ace leaders. And for Hawaii, I really felt that they need to pass first, take care of their first contact so that they can be what we term in system.
So the two sides have switched. It's 8-6 Hawaii. Albrecht off the block and out of bounds.
And what you're going to notice with Carly Kahn and Weaver is that they do what we call shared or split blocking. Both of them share the duties of blocking. And Carly Kahn is a little bit undersized at 5'9".
Also, Laurel Weaver did not play in the second match against Nebraska at Queens this weekend. She had a shoulder injury as that one goes long. And the question was whether or not she would be available tonight. Talked to Jeff Hall earlier this morning. She got cleared yesterday, and so he's happy to have her.
And the team was off yesterday. They had played so many days in a row. It was a mandated day that they had to take off. She dove for a ball and actually hurt her shoulder, but thank goodness it was cleared to come back out and compete, especially heading into this road trip.
Smart play there by Kahn, finding the open puka on the sand.
There's lots of communication that goes on playing in doubles beach volleyball.
Maloney on Albrecht, and Albrecht gets the kill. Albrecht is senior, 6 foot tall, out of North Aurora, Illinois. Maloney out of Louisville, Kentucky, 5'8" junior. First team All-American this past year indoor as a libero. I mentioned all the players actually on the Nebraska team are indoor players as well. That one off the handles and the kill.
And that's one of the biggest changes for Hawaii. Jeff Hall is now officially the head beach volleyball coach, and he was kind of playing two roles before. He was coaching indoors with Dave Shoji, and then also with Charlie Wade. The point being is that Hawaii has really transitioned out to trying to build their beach volleyball program, whereas Nebraska, they take their indoor players and they put them outdoors.
Well, they don't have the same commitment, obviously, as Hawaii. They actually do have a indoor place where they can play games. They don't very often. That one flips the tape. That will be an ace. And we'll take a timeout. Set number 1, flight number 2, 11-10 Hawaii.
Rainbow Wahine Beach Volleyball on Spectrum Sports is sponsored by Bank of Hawaii and Kaiser Permanente.
Back here on the sand, Ryan Kalesuji reporting from the sideline. During that timeout, head coach Jeff Hall talking to his team about the value of recognizing when to pull off the net. Hawaii's head coach saying they don't necessarily have to block every ball, and he wants to see his player, like that last play, do a better job of recognizing when to pull and when to play defense. Back up to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Well, one of your keys, Lisa, was the serving of Nebraska, but so far it's really been the serving of Hawaii.
It has. Things have flipped here. Hawaii with 4 service aces so far, and Nebraska with 2 service errors.
Bumped up to Weaver. Weaver goes cross court. Interesting, you look at Hawaii, the 13-3 coming into this one, and Nebraska to this point of the season, the only unranked team that they have faced.
That's right, Nebraska, the only unranked team in Hawaii. Nebraska's been fortunate enough to come out to Hawaii often. So often that they, I think, just love it. But again, Nebraska is not truly, they train, we talked about it, a month they have a season. That's it, a month of competition. And then they are done and back in the gym.
That serve goes into the net. John Cook missing, though, this weekend. He's usually out here with his team, the indoor head coach, and also the beach volleyball head coach, but not here.
Not here, 19th year of coaching at Nebraska. And so I think he has a lot of faith in his staff and sent them all on their way.
Net violation, no, we'll say that was put down. A kill for Weaver.
Bert Fuller on the top says absolutely not a violation, but Nebraska questioning the call. Oh, it was turned around.
I saw the down official signal for a net violation. And that will be the case. So it's tied up at 13 here in the first set of flight number 2. Kahn will attack across court into the corner. It goes. Time now for the Jack Fact, brought to you by Jack in the Box. And we were kind of talking about this just a moment ago. And Nebraska is playing their 30th career dual match in the state of Hawaii. In 6 years of beach volleyball, the Huskers have played only 4 matches at home.
Well, if I was Nebraska, I'd want to come here and play too. I mean, when you look at the real big picture, right?
Well, you know, the funny thing is they play at home. They played 2 matches this year at home against Missouri State and Missouri Baptist. But those matches are closed to the public because it's called the Hawks Championship Center, but it looks like a barn. I mean, there's pictures of it online, and there's no room for spectators. And there's one court, but what they do is on the wall, they have it painted to look like a beach. So it looks pretty cool in there. It's a lot warmer than playing outside, and they do have outside courts. But, yeah, they play at the Hawks Championship Center occasionally.
Well, you know, I don't think they play like the Jack Fact very often at home. They like to get on the road and go. 4
matches all time at home. Why not? They have the money. And unable to play that one is Maloney. Another point for Hawaii. And slowly now UH trying to pull away in this first set. 3-0 scoring run for the Bows. Remember, you played a 21.
That's where you're going to see a little bit of difference here is that wind. Nebraska playing the ball a little bit high and the ball getting away from them. Not used to having gusts because when they do train at home, they are in an enclosed environment. Indoor beach volleyball.
The 2 sides will switch. Or actually, I think we'll have a timeout called by Nebraska. So it will be a timeout by the Cornhuskers. Tyler Hildebrand will go over there and talk to his duel, Maloney and Albrecht. But, you know, these 2 teams, I would think by now, know each other fairly well, having faced each other not only twice this past weekend, but having seen each other play 6 times. So let's take a look now at the series record sponsored by Aston Hotels and Resorts, and it's all been Hawaii. They lead the series 8-0, of course, winning 5-0 on Sunday in the second meeting. They won 5-0 in the first meeting on Saturday. You see Jeff Hall there talking to Carly Kahn, Laurel Weaver. What do you think he's talking about?
Well, I think that he's sharing with them about keeping things the pulling as well as just keep the communication. One thing the coaching staff does is they designate one coach to actually talk and be the voice. And so Jeff Hall talking to them, they try not to overload their players with too much information, trying to keep it simple so that they know what to focus on and not give them too much information.
Okay, we just saw a reserve on a play that took place. And how commonplace is that? What do you think took place?
Well, you know, the reserve, I think there's a little bit of confusion with the down and the up ref, and so maybe it was a late call. I'm not positive of what happened there, but it's very seldom that you actually see a reserve or what we term a replay. Hardly ever will you see a reserve in indoor volleyball. But in beach volleyball, if there's a question or if the call was late or a whistle got blown too early or possibly a ball rolls onto the court, then you get a replay.
Well, let's take a look at that play again at the net.
And one of the things out here, too, is that you don't have the challenge card like they do indoors. But there we see the up ref, and he didn't see it, but I think the down ref actually called that.
Well, back to action, serving it into the net is Laurel Weaver. An all Big West first team selection a year ago. And this tandem's been playing mainly the Flight 2s and a lot of the Flight 3 as well. So they're up there towards the top. Angles that one out of bounds, aiming for the back corner. Here are the officials. Bert Fuller up on the pedestal. Fernando Mosqueda is the lower left. The line judges Ryan Sakagawa and Ian Green.
And again, Nebraska serving into the wind. That's their 3rd service error. I feel that Nebraska is actually on the good side of this court. When you're playing sand volleyball, you want the wind in your face. Kind of like when you're sailing, you want it behind you to fill your sail. But out here, you want the wind in your face.
Is that because you can knuckle it more, make it do more dancing around?
Yes, and you can float balls in. It's a little bit more true when it's over your shoulder, the ball drops out. or goes a little further.
Maloney will try to get that over. She does. Kahn. It'll be on the second contact, hit over and out of bounds by Weaver. So Weaver trying to catch Nebraska napping instead of hitting error, and we got ourselves a 1-point set.
That's a rare error by Laurel Weaver. She normally doesn't play balls like that. But again, the wind behind her, she tries to shoot it over on 2, and it goes a little high and drifts a little longer with the wind behind her.
Jeff Hall looking a little nervous there.
I'd look a little nervous, too, if I just gave that free point away.
We'll see if Hawaii can rebound. Kahn will get the chance off the hands of the block off of Albrecht.
And what you're going to notice is both of these teams are not doing a lot of blocking. Again, I think due to the wind, that's one of the first blocks. And Carly Kahn smart enough to hit high and off of the hands.
Here comes Maloney. Dug up nicely by Weaver. Kahn, joust, and winning the battle will be Weaver on the hands of Albrecht, who was a second-team All-American indoor for the Huskers this past season.
And Carly Kahn doing a nice job there at the net. Again, a little undersized at 5'9", getting a piece of that ball. Nebraska debating and asking the head ref, questioning the call, if you will. So, I think they're questioning interference. And actually, that's what Tyler is asking about, is interference under the net. You cannot interfere or come under the net. Sand volleyball, there's actually no line under the net. And so he's saying, hey, there's interference there. She interrupted the play.
Imagine if they did have a line under the net. That'd be great job security for the guy that paints it. Let's look at this again.
Take a look at Carly Kahn coming under the net and actually coming into her. You see that? So that is actually the down ref's call.
Well, it'll stay, and it's set point for UH. High bump set, the roof by Kahn to punctuate set number 1 in favor of Hawaii, 21-17. UH leads 1-0. We'll have the second when we return. And here you see the roof by Carly Kahn to end set number 1. Hawaii pulls away, wins it 21-17. When we come back, the start to set number 2. For the latest information on UH Athletics, go to hawaiiathletics.com. For UH news, tickets, videos, and more, you can also visit UH's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube sites to follow your favorite teams and get current fan promotions. Back at the Ching Complex, the beach volleyball courts, where Hawaii has defeated Nebraska in the first set 21-17. The pair of Kahn and Weaver for UH, Maloney and Albrecht for the Huskers. And set number 2 is underway. The high bump to Kahn that rolls off the tape and falls in for a point.
Very interesting enough. Nebraska pulling on that, and again, I think they're they're not blocking very much, but Kahn seeing it and hitting down the line.
All right, and she gets it off a good effort by Carly Kahn.
So again, here you see Albrecht just pulling off. She's pulling, or what we call dropping angle, and Carly Kahn seeing it real early and dropping it down in front of her.
Back over to Kahn. Kahn looks and puts it down in the arm. Now, right here, indoor coaches saying how much a game improves for a player playing on the beach. Why is that?
Well, the contact. You've got so many more contacts. You've got you got to take that first ball. You got to play everything. You got to be the setter. You got to be the digger. You got to be the server. There's no specialties out here. So you get more contacts, and visually you're having to look at the court and put it where others aren't. So peripherally, you're seeing a lot more.
You know, I think of Emily Maglio, who we'll see in play number 1, and how much her improvement indoors became from playing on the beach.
Well, I think she just grew and blossomed. She became really confident in her skills, and it really showed and continued to show with her being named an All-American this past year.
That serve floats too far into the wind. So we've had a pretty steady trade blowing down from Manoa Valley. Knock on wood, we haven't had any of the wet stuff. That serve right side wide and out of bounds.
Well, interestingly enough, this game or this set, they're trying to go after Carly Kahn and serve her a little bit more than they did in game 1.
And what's the strategy behind that?
Well, oftentimes it's to go after the player that you start picking on somebody. You want them to have to take that first ball, and then potentially to have Weaver have to set her, and then Carly Kahn has to put the ball away. So I think maybe that's their strategy. Earlier, they were not picking on one player or the other.
Up towards the net from Maloney. Dug up by Weaver, chased down by Kahn. Here come the Huskers. Maloney, nice two-hand dig to Kahn. Kahn rolls it, cuts it, gets it off the dig and down.
And Carly Kahn doing a nice job again, seeing the court. That's called a cut shot. She sees that the defenders are both holding back. She drops her elbow just a little late there and contacts the ball on the right side for what we call a cut shot.
Mentioned Nebraska comes in 3-11 on the year. Their 3 wins, Missouri Baptist, Missouri State. That was at home at the Hawks Championship Center. And then they beat a university in Arizona that I had never heard of, Benedictine University of Mesa. Have you ever heard of that school?
Never heard of it either.
In fact, they played at a high school. So a local high school in Mesa obviously had some sand courts for them to play at, and Nebraska won that.
Well, California and Arizona have numerous high school sand or beach volleyball teams all throughout, up and down the coastline and in Arizona.
And then Huskers after this will head to the West Coast. They'll wrap up their season on Friday. They'll play a triple header at Irvine. There's an ace. As they'll play Irvine Valley, Long Beach State, and Concordia of Irvine. And then that's it. They're powered.
They're in and they're out.
But they'll go back home and they'll have the best looking fans on campus.
Well, that's what their coach said today. He said they are so happy they got some sunshine. Sunshine and some shopping as well.
Here comes the serve. Kahn, Albrecht looks over the defense. Nice dig. Weaver kept alive. Hit over on the double contact by Maloney.
And Maloney's smart play by her again, taking the opportunity to hit over on 2. Oftentimes in sand volleyball, people get stuck in this 1-2-3, 1-2-3. And when there's more wind, oftentimes you'll start seeing teams that are a little bit more experienced hitting it over on 2.
High in the air for Albrecht. Albrecht whips that one down past Carly Kahn.
And Albrecht was homeschooled, very interestingly enough. And again, she played in every set in her 4-year career at Nebraska under John Cook. Pretty amazing.
Kept alive. Kahn will hit it, one-hand dig. Bumped up near the net for Maloney. Maloney takes a whack at it with the help of the net. Gets it to fall down, and so we've reached another 7-point switch. And Hawaii now will be able to serve into the win, which is the advantage that you want to have.
You do, and I'm shocked that they're not jump serving a little bit. I like the floater, but I would think they may be jump serving into the wind a little bit when you have the wind in your face.
Hawaii winning the first set 21-17. That one bumped over pass and pokeyed over and down into the back row by Albrecht.
And I think that's what Nebraska is doing again, going after Carly Kahn and waiting for Laurel Weaver to set her a little tight because Albrecht is a huge block up there.
4-0 scoring run for the Cornhuskers now. Kahn, she hits that one hard off Albrecht.
And Albrecht deciding not to block that time. You hear Laurel Weaver screaming, no one meaning there is no blocker. Swing away.
Kahn had a tremendous indoor career at Missouri, 3-time All-American. I think she must have led that team every match in kills, it seemed like, and unable to maneuver that one over the net is Kenzie Maloney.
Last year, Carly Kahn came back to Hawaii to play sand volleyball. She played at the 4 and 5 slot last year, and last weekend she was given the Aloha Spirit Award this past weekend.
And just long. Line judge Ian Green pulls the red flag up. You good luck at Carly Kahn, who's happy to be back home, working on her master's in kinesiology and playing a little beach volleyball as well. Weaver to Kahn. Kahn cuts that one. Rat-a-tats around. Maloney gives a good effort.
Maloney gets a nice first contact, but Albrecht sends it backwards, and Maloney, got to give her credit for turning and chasing a ball that she knew chances were good. She was not going to recover that ball.
Maloney, a great athlete, and one of the better beach volleyball players on this Nebraska squad. Cranks that one, Kahn digs it behind the end line. Weaver gets to it, can Kahn muscle it over? No. That takes a lot out of you, trying to run in that sand, because it feels like you're on a treadmill half the time.
It does, and again, the wind, the higher you put the ball, the more it's going to move away from you. So in this wind, which I think is blowing a good, what would you say, 15 miles an hour?
Oh, I think the gusts are probably 25.
Yeah, it's a factor out here. You know, you got to keep the ball a little lower.
Albrecht floats it over.
No one.
Albrecht gets it over Kahn and down. So we'll take a timeout. Hawaii leads 1-0, but they trail by 3 here in the second.
Back here from the Clarence C.C. Ching Complex in the stands with one of the fans here in attendance, Nikki Taylor from All-American for the University of Hawaii. Nikki, what is it like seeing your old teammates and being back here watching sand volleyball?
I think it definitely gives me a different perspective of seeing what it's like to be on the, out in the stands watching everyone rather than being the one that's watched all the time. So I think it definitely allows me to just relax and watch the game and watch the sport that I love. So it's fun. You had a lot of fans during your time here at UH, both indoor and outdoor. Sort of update everyone. What are you doing now, and are you still playing? Yeah, so I'm still playing indoor, not beach. But I just got back. I was playing in Italy for the last portion of the pro volleyball season, so I just got back last week. So still playing, everything super healthy, which is really nice. And yeah, still just continuing to play as long as I can and keep playing the sport I love. Well, great catching up to you. Thanks for being here. We'll send it back to you guys.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ryan. One of the all-time great volleyball players, two-time All-American, indoor as well as outdoor, Nikki Taylor. And good to hear that she's healthy, because after every indoor match, she would be iced up like a mummy.
Yeah, she actually had shoulder surgery and is recovering. Went for half of a season over to Italy and did really well. Had a good time. Met up with Annie Mitchum, and is going to try to renegotiate where she's going to head for next year.
Here it's 13-10 Nebraska after they lost the first set, 21-17. And you talked at the beginning of one of the keys would be serving. It looks like their serving now in the second set has begun to pick up.
It's serving a little bit tougher, but again, I haven't seen as tough as I thought they would be. But this is their biggest lead.
That serve goes out of bounds after we talk about their serving.
Yeah, well, we botched it.
Happens all the time, it seems like. Of course, Hawaii now with the wind to their back. Albrecht bumps it up to Maloney. Maloney to her left and down. She's a libero, a good one too, an All-American last year at Nebraska. She must love the fact she gets a chance to do something like this. Hit the ball.
That's right, and you know what? She sees Carly Kahn drop, and she swings right at her. She tries to beat her, and she does down the line.
We understand, talking to Jeff Hall, that Maloney actually was a hitter in high school, so she does have some experience hitting the ball.
Well, she took the place of Justine Wong Ornates, who was an amazing libero for the Cornhuskers, but she didn't miss a beat. And you got to remember, this team won the national championship this year with 8 players, 8 new freshmen. 3 All-Americans graduate. His 2 assistant coaches leave. John Cook had like nothing on the table.
Well, you mentioned Wong Orantes. She teamed up with Albrecht last year, and they won the second flight.
So taking a look at this last play, Maloney going off of 1 foot, getting it just outside the stretching, diving arms of Carly Kahn.
Talking about Kahn, nice dig by Maloney, but it goes over her partner Albrecht. And Hawaii's got to put together a bit of a run right here, trailing by 3 late in this set. Play to 21. If it does go to a third, they play to 15.
Well, Hawaii's got the side advantage, definitely.
That one will be roofed by Carly Kahn.
And Carly Kahn showing her hops, getting up there, penetrating over the net, waiting just long enough for Maloney to think that she wasn't. She jumps into the seam.
Third block for Hawaii. That's not going to help the cause.
But you got to give Weaver credit. She's going for that jump float. She's trying to go for a tougher serve from this side.
Long splits with defenders. Husband and wife, right, Lisa?
Husband and wife, and you know, Kahn doing a nice job, but give Laurel Weaver credit. It's a great bump set, and she sees the blocker drop, and she communicates no one.
Kahn's serving has been pretty good so far. Second contact pushed over, dug up by Kahn. Weaver back to Carly. Carly dug up by Maloney. High bump for Maloney. Maloney will be blocked by Weaver. So Hawaii using the block to their advantage to try to make a comeback here in this second set, only down by 1. And Nebraska will call a timeout.
17-60 Nebraska.
So I tell you what, let's check out how it works, presented by Central Pacific Bank. Show us some of the ways you can attack the ball.
Well, there's so many different opportunities, but here we take a look at Weaver Morgan Martin getting on the right side of the ball, chin up, really doing a shot here. She sees the court. That's one of the many opportunities with that elbow high. Here's another great shot of the contact, the high contact. Looks like it's going to be a shot as well. She's got her eye on the ball. She's looking at it. She's got a completely open hand on the ball. That's Ka'ivi. And then on this one, look at the impact. This ball is being hit. She is going for a full swing on this ball. So there's so many different points of contact and areas where you can contact the ball, whether it's a shot or a full swing. And last but not least, we take a look at the all-famous pokey. Morgan Martin getting a hold of that, the knuckleball, if you will. She's completely outreached over the net and trying to better the ball. Usually happens on a tight set. That's called the pokey.
And that's how it works. Brought to you by Central Pacific Bank. You played a number of years on the beach. What was your favorite shot?
Oh, my bread and butter was the cut shot. It was where I always went when I got in trouble. Everybody's got their bread and butter shot, what they go to. The game's changed quite a bit. Biggest thing I'd have to say is rally scoring. Rally scoring has changed this game quite a bit.
Let's go down to Ryan Kalei-Suji. Ryan.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Well, the wind's definitely becoming a factor here as we have gusts of up to about 25 miles an hour coming and going. And head coach Jeff Hall during that last timeout telling his team, use the wind to your advantage, meaning he wants his team to take advantage of the wind when serving to put Nebraska in more pressure passing situations. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. The wind calmed down for that serve by Kahn. That one pokeyed over to the right and down by Maloney.
And one of the things we're going to say is that, yeah, you want to serve tough. You want your opponents to have to move to the ball. You don't want to serve in their lap or serve to what we call the heart of the court. You've got to move them around a little.
That serve down the line goes wide. So it stays a 1-point set. Hawaii won the opener 21-17. And after this second flight is Powell, we'll have the main event, flight number 1. So they'll switch sides.
And Nebraska now with the wind in their face. Weaver back there going to go again for her jump float.
Rolled over, but there's Weaver. Kahn back over. It's an overpass, pushed over and down by Annika Albrecht.
And again, the wind carrying that ball a little bit over the net. Interesting rule in beach volleyball is there's no open hand tipping. There's also, when you block, that's considered the first contact. So of 3 contacts, you've got to get it back over the net on 2. So here, we take a look at this right here. She's got to hit it over on 2.
And Maloney can't believe that one not only landed in bounds, but nobody tried to get it. And now the Cornhuskers are a point away from taking the second set and forcing a third and deciding one, 1st to 15. So the two teams now will take a break for a timeout. And if you're Jeff Hall, are you looking forward to the third set, or are you still trying to rally them to try to get back into this one?
Oh, no, you rally them to get back into this one. This is where you learn how to fight and compete. And these two young ladies have done that all weekend long. They're very experienced. They're both seniors. They've played a lot of sand volleyball, and they're fighters. So The one disadvantage they have is that the wind's at their back right now. So they're going to have to, again, take care of that first ball, bring things down a little bit, and continue to communicate.
Well, we talked about Annika Albrecht playing every indoor set in her 4-year career. Let's see how she's done on the beach so far for the Cornhuskers. That's a nice put down by the indoor All-American. Albrecht taking a whack. Nice set for her. Finds the open sand. And this time gets the pushover on the overpass. Annika Albrecht, the 6-foot senior of North Aurora, Illinois. Talk about a storied career in Nebraska.
Unbelievable. She was the co-captain of her team this year as a senior, but something a little different that she did was she finally got the opportunity to play 6 rotations this year indoors. So a 6-rotation player means basically that you're playing every position, and her kill percentage was like over 300 for the year. Not percentage, excuse me, kill per set was over 3 per set. But truly, she's got 2 national championships behind her.
Yeah, not too shabby, right? So the timeout is over. Set point for Nebraska. Serving into the win will be Albrecht. Trying to force this to a 3rd set here in flight number 2. She'll try the jump serve, gets it over. Kahn, back over to Kahn from Weaver. And that one lands just inside the line.
And that's a great high line shot by Carly Kahn. She sees the court again, sees the block drop, and goes down that line. They call that shot a high line.
Kahn will see if she can use her serving to get UH back into this one. Albrecht will bump it to Maloney. Maloney cuts it to the right, goes out of bounds, and Hawaii now within a point of tying it.
In Nebraska, you can see them getting a little gun shy, if you will, like, oh, unforced errors starting to happen.
Kahn will toe the far left side to serve this one. And that goes off the hands of Maloney onto the practice field, and Hawaii has come back and knotted this one up at 20.
And they've done it from the side with the wind at their back. Maloney not sure if she should take that last ball and decided very late.
Maloney will take that one. Albrecht back to her. That one gets down. It'll be a set point again for the Cornhuskers. Kenzie Maloney, junior out of Louisville, Kentucky. Weaver. There's Kahn. Kahn hits it hard. 2-hand dig by Albrecht. Albrecht can finish it right here, but she hits it long.
And again, the unforced errors by the Nebraska Cornhuskers. See if they slow it down a little. When you change sides, you can change the momentum as well as slowing it down. You don't have to come right back onto the court immediately.
Weaver's ready to go.
She should be. She's got the momentum on her side.
Yeah, and the win, and that one's going to be an ace!
And there we go, the wind in her face.
And Hawaii now with their first set point, match point as well. That one chased down by Albrecht, bumps it up for Maloney, and she cuts it off the tape, gets the roll to fall.
That's a really difficult play for Maloney, coming over the back side of her. She gets a little bit lucky, and she knows it. She does, like, it's not a tip shot, but she just keeps the ball in play.
Well, any way you can make it fall without anybody digging it up, I guess, right?
That's right.
Kahn needs to get this one to fall in. It goes out, and the hitting error gives the second set to Nebraska. No, gives them set point again here in the third. 23 serving 22.
And it's definitely a battle. Let's see if they go after Carly Kahn again.
Well, you mentioned that's been kind of their MO, right? And it will be Kahn. Kahn, cross foot. And we'll continue on.
And Carly Kahn seeing the defenders, both of them pulling or being in the cross court. She gets away with it. She could have went line as well with nobody there.
Probably hear the wind in the background. Hit over on the second contact, but there's Kahn. Back to Kahn. Kahn hits it hard, but too long.
And that's a great set by Laurel Weaver, and Kahn knew it. She just wanted to swing away and get that ball in.
It's another opportunity for Nebraska to push this to a third one. Maloney gets down the line. Kahn, Weaver, off the hands, dug up, overpass, and that leads to the point and the win on the dig overpass by Annika Albrecht. It falls onto the Hawaii side, and Nebraska has knotted this one up.
And Nebraska going after Laurel Weaver, mixing it up a little bit. Maybe that was a good strategy. And on this last play, really, she pulls defensively Albrecht just to protect herself. And again, there's that play over on 1 or 2. It's that surprise play. It's not the 1, 2, 3 play.
Well, keep in mind, Hawaii played Nebraska twice this past weekend at Queens on Saturday as well as Sunday, and they won all 5 flights. So Nebraska looking to pick up a win of a flight right here. As you see the scores through the first 2.
There you see Andrew Sato, one of the coaches there. He's moved. He was a Long Beach State libero. I don't know if you remember the name. His dad, Gary Sato, coaches at USC for the men's team. But he's now headed to Nebraska to help coach and get his master's degree. There we see Austin Mautautia, who's in the stands supporting.
Well, you talk about Nebraska, the indoor team, which is year in and year out one of the tops in the country, and they've, of course, won the national championship. They just announced Jalen Reyes, the son of former men's coach Tino Reyes, assistant coach, who was at BYU here like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. He now will be an assistant after the men's season's call at BYU for John Cook at Nebraska.
Well, he saw a great opportunity, and Jalen Reyes knows that he's going to learn a ton through John Cook, who has continuously trained and mentored lots of really great assistant coaches, and that's why, unfortunately, they keep leaving.
Yeah.
They get these opportunities, and John Cook puts his heart and soul into it, and then they end up getting these jobs, which is great opportunities for them, but then he's got to retrain the group.
Well, they just reload at Nebraska. How about reloading the Hawaii service game through the first couple of sets? It's been a mixed bag for Hawaii. Here's a good serve, though, by UH.
Yeah, UH doing a nice job jump floating, getting a little lucky off of the take. Home court advantage, but again, we got to talk about the wind, because I really think the wind is your friend. When you have wind, you've got to take it to your advantage. And real beach volleyball players, they just love the wind.
We'll see if the wind is a friend or foe of the Wahine here in the third set, knotted up at 1 apiece. And let's go down to Ryan Clay-Suji.
Well, the coaching staff for Hawaii talking to their players about hitting their shots, saying we don't need to do pokies. You're confident with your open hand shots. They want their players to be more aggressive and really live up and really enjoy this competition, trying to get their players to be more aggressive, especially in the latter parts of each set. Back over to you guys.
Kenzie Maloney was pretty aggressive with that hit. And the Cornhuskers open up with a 1-0 lead.
And the Cornhuskers, in my opinion, got side and serve on this one. They started serving, and I think they are on the good side.
Here's Kahn cross court. Albrecht was there, but couldn't stop her.
Laura Weaver doing a nice job on that bump set to Carly Kahn.
Don't forget, coming up after this one, flight number 1s for both schools. There's Maloney taking a whack. It's dug up, it's an overpass, and it will lead to a Hawaii point. Don't see that often indoor, but it's fairly common, I would say, on the beach.
Yeah, fairly common, but you don't see it that often. Yeah. But you got to give an A for effort, Maloney, and then following the ball, Albrecht just lays it out there.
Big hit, but dug up by Weaver. Kahn gets it. Back to Weaver. Weaver will be stuffed by Albrecht.
And Weaver, I don't think, saw Albrecht coming up. That ball coming over her, behind her, when she went to approach that ball. But Albrecht just all over that. The set a little tight.
So tied at 2 here in the third. Nice hard serve. Weaver. One-hand dig by Albrecht. They'll give it back to Annika. Runs up, hits it, dug up by Kahn. Weaver the bump set for Kahn, but there's Maloney. Maloney versus Kahn. Diving dig by Weaver. Let's see what they can do right here. Rat-a-tat-it around. Can Maloney get it over? Somehow she does. We play on. Weaver backpedals. Kahn hits it too hard. Great rally there on both sides, and Nebraska comes away with the point, but great effort.
Great effort on both sides. One of the longest rallies we've seen so far. And again, both teams really scrambling some good ball control, but again, beach volleyball is all about that unforced errors. Carly Kahn struggling a little bit offensively.
So now that we're playing to 15 in the third set, they switch at 5, increments of 5?
That's right, multiples of 5, they have to switch. And again, you change sides because of the wind, potentially the sun, potentially the night lights, whatever it is, there's always going to be a side that has an advantage.
Well, earlier, the lights were on Cook Field, or Ching Field, but they turned them off just a couple of minutes ago. And unable to get it over is Hawaii. Here comes Kahn. She finally does, but there's the Cornhuskers. Overpass. Kahn will be blocked again by Albrecht.
And again, a little teetering at the net there with both teams. The ball drifting on top. Carly Kahn doing a nice job, but Albrecht is just a force at the net.
Well, she is right now, that's for sure. 4-2. Big Red. There's Maloney, perfect. Maloney rolls it down.
She's hard to read, you know, she's a smaller player, so you really don't want to go block her unless it's right on the net.
So Hawaii will call the early timeout here in set number 3, trailing 5-2 after winning the opening set 21-17, but that was nip and tuck until about 16. Then Hawaii was able to pull away, and the Cornhuskers win it in extra points in set number 2, 25-23. So this has been a pretty good matchup between these two. And how about Kenzie Maloney, the 5'8" junior out of Louisville, first team All-American as a libero, but showing that she can do more than just dig volleyballs.
She's an all-around player. You know, that's why she wasn't voted the best defender in the Outrigger Challenge, but people will tend to want to go after her and make her become offensive, not just defensive, but she is holding her own.
Is this a sport that's more conducive to the shorter player than the bigger player?
Well, not necessarily, but the shorter player can be just as good, if not better, than the bigger players. It just really depends on time, effort, experience. Hard to say.
And you're typically not going to pair 2 6'4" girls together, are you?
Not typically. Oftentimes you'll get 2 middle size, like Weaver and Kahn are about the same size. And that's why when you talk to the coaching staff, they talk that their blocking was probably one of their weaknesses because they're a little smaller. Oftentimes you'll see a big and a small, which is what we're going to see with Emily Maglio and Kaiwi Schucht. Yeah, in the next match.
Well, Kahn listed at 5'9", Weaver at 5'11" for Nebraska, Maloney at 5'8", and Albrecht at an even 6 foot. So Hawaii will get back onto the court, and there you see the flight number 1 for Hawaii. Schucht and Maglio in their sweats.
Well, it's brisk here, but you know it's going to get a lot brisker when they head to South Carolina here in a few days for their next venue.
Yeah, they'll play 9 matches away from home. Kahn takes a big whack at it and puts it down.
And Carly Kahn, when she gets the right set, she sees the court extremely well.
I'll go to the Gamecock Challenge and then head over to the Big West Challenge. There's a nice point for UH.
There is a nice point for UH, and a little lucky on that as well. That let ball in volleyball is considered good.
5 service aces tonight for Ms. Kahn. One-hand big overpass that goes just out of bounds. Good job by Weaver. Playing that sideline, realizing where she's at and not trying to dig it up.
Well, that was almost an ace by Carly Kahn. I mean, her floating serve right there, she took advantage of the wind in her face and really forced the Cornhuskers into some passing trouble.
So a third tie here in this third and final deciding set. Hawaii won the first, Nebraska won the second. Wind really picking up, and that one blew the ball just long. A big gust right as Carly Kahn was serving, picked up.
And again, you just got to know that the wind's behind you and take something off. Those unforced errors.
We're going to get a football call. A football called on Maloney. First one we've seen tonight.
They are starting to watch that more and more often, but it is. A foot fault is a foot fault. You cannot touch that line whatsoever when you're serving.
Tied again, this time at 6. Albrecht bumps it up. Maloney gets ready to hit it. Nice dig by Weaver. He'll get a chance to give away the lead, but there's Albrecht. High in the air for Albrecht, and she hits that one out of bounds.
And Hawaii doing a nice job working their way back into this set 3.
So UH with the lead. Nice serve, handled nicely by Nebraska. Two-hand dig, Kahn gets to it. He'll be freed over. Here comes the Cornhuskers. Albrecht on the second contact, overpasses it, but hitting it out is Weaver. Weaver looking at the line judge going, really? And he says yes. She can't believe she missed that one.
She can't, and she started to jog up to ask the question, but he put his hand down and she reacted like, okay, I got it.
Hawaii trying to improve to 14-3 on the year here this evening against Nebraska. On one-on-one, takes it left and down.
So Carly Kahn seeing the huge block on her and also seeing the court and just decides to take a little off of a soft shot.
And good thing that was played a little bit off the net, because if it was a little tighter, she might have been blocked again.
That's right, and I'm surprised, a little surprised that they keep going after Carly Kahn, because she is sighting out very well.
That's a knuckle serve. Backing up is Weaver, perfect positioning, digs it up. Kahn to Weaver. Weaver will be stuffed by Albrecht, who's done a good job blocking at the net for Nebraska tonight.
And again, when you start making points off of one player like that, then again, I'll say it one more time, that's where I would probably start serving towards.
This time to her right, cross court and in.
Because again, Carly Kahn she's in a good sync right now. She's being set extremely well by Weaver, and she's sighting out very well. 18
kills for Kahn, and well, she's got a lot of repetitions so far tonight, hasn't she?
Well, yeah, they're continuing to stay on her.
Floats that one into the wind, but too much muscle on that one. This duo of Kahn and Weaver, 8-7 on the year.
Weaver actually started her career indoor, believe it or not, in Florida, playing indoors, and then transferred to UCLA, played a couple of years, and then Hawaii was her dream, and she came out here, and this is her second year.
How about that play by Kahn, the hustle across the court, diving dig, pops it up, and Weaver puts it down in the back row. Oh my.
Incredible set by Carly Kahn. Incredible hustle, shows her speed and her quickness, but also makes it a playable ball.
10-9 favoring Hawaii, and that one goes long again. So serving into the win, you say the win is your friend, but it wasn't in that case, was it?
They're trying to do a deep floater is what they're trying to do to get it to drop in deep into the court, but it's just getting a little rise off of it. So we'll see if Nebraska tries to do the same right back at them, using the wind to do a deep floater.
We're tied at 10, we played a 15.
So basically it's a game to 5.
Yeah. Or we could play past that, like we did in the second set.
This is
nice
true.
Diving save by Weaver, gets back up and able to get it back over and give herself an opportunity defensively. But that one hit too hard by Albrecht. And now we'll go into the stands behind the end line.
That's a real tough one, because you really can't go block Albrecht with the wind in your face. The set's about 4 feet off, and she just buries that ball.
Floater. Weaver into the back row. It's so difficult when there are only 2 of you out there, right? I mean, you kind of have an idea of what area you're going to take, and I'll take this area, but sometimes it's impossible to get to the ball. You just can't.
It is. There's a lot of strategy, a lot more strategy than what most people would think in sand volleyball, as far as where to put the ball, who to serve it to, talking to one another, the wind. It's like a chess match, basically, you know, and the coaching staff, again, they cannot coach you during the match.
Nice serve. Kahn gets to it. Weaver mishits. And the Cornhuskers now 2 points away from the win in flight number 2.
And Albrecht doing a jump serve, really showing her physicality from the back, straight into the wind.
Last year, Nebraska won the second flight as well. Maloney up near the net, maybe a little too much and unable to play it off, but trying to kick it was Albrecht trying to kick save if she could. So Hawaii won the opener 21-17. Nebraska 25-23 and extra points in the second. And a 13-12 game right here. And I would say that these two pairs are pretty evenly matched.
I would have to agree with you, and especially with the great neutralizer.
The wind.
Right.
And the wind is our friend, right?
The wind is always your friend. And UH has the side. If you ask me, my thought is UH has the advantage of being on the good side.
Diving dig by Kahn, but unable to get to it is Weaver.
And Weaver really scrambling to get to that ball, but the net kind of got in her way a little bit on that play.
So match point now for Nebraska, for Maloney and Albrecht. Maloney will serve it on a line. Kahn bumps it up near the net, pushed to her left and down by Weaver. Nice job by Laurel Weaver.
And Laurel Weaver did a great job getting around that huge block, bettering a tight set by Carly Kahn.
Now the all-important serve. You've got to get this serve in.
She sure does. She's going to go for her jump deep floater.
There it is. She floats it too far and on a service error. Nebraska wins set number 3, 15-13, and they defeat Hawaii 2 sets to 1. 2 sets to 1. So Nebraska wins flight number 2. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the main event. The flight number 1s for Hawaii and Nebraska. Stay tuned.
Welcome back here, Sandside in Manoa, where Hawaii falling in 3 sets to Nebraska. Joined now by head coach Jeff Hall. Jeff, what do you think happened? What was the difference maker in that match?
Well, it's serving. We got to serve it in, make them play. I think that we were just kind of playing and hoping they would fold, and they didn't. You know, they played aggressive. They actually moved us around on the service line, and they took swings when it mattered. And I think we just kind of struggled the whole 3 sets, and it wasn't quite our night.
Looking ahead to the next flight, flight number 1, what can you guys expect? What is sort of the mentality that you're going to be telling your team going into this important match?
Well, just go for it. I mean, just play free, and you're at home, and you might as well just play and go swing, be a big blocker, serve well, pass well. I mean, obviously Maglio is one of the best blockers in the country, so that'll be fun for the people to watch on live TV. And then, you know, Kaiwi celebrates success. You'll see her when she makes a great play, really, really celebrate. So it should be a fun match to watch, and they have a really talented one, so I think it'll be a good match.
Overall, coming out of this weekend, a lot of success for the team, beating USC. You got to be happy about the way the team has played over the weekend and sort of the momentum that you guys are on.
Totally. I mean, anytime you can go 6-0 on a weekend, you'll take it. We're hitting our stride. I mean, last week I was complaining that we'd play really good and then we'd play really bad. So it's nice to put a whole weekend together. And then we got to go on the road and we got to do the same thing against some East Coast teams. So we'll see next week.
Talk about the mentality going into those road matches in South Carolina. What was sort of the mentality about scheduling this kind of matchup all the way on the East Coast at this time of the year? Yeah,
I mean, for us, we always try to at least play some East Coast teams. So if it comes down to a bid process at the end, that maybe we have head-to-head results, obviously in our favor, we're hoping. And I think it's good for us to get on the road and travel that far since, you know, the national championship is kind of in that same time zone. So it's just a couple things working towards, you know, getting used to it so that we're in our comfort zone when we're there, hopefully in May.
Well, Jeff Hall, thank you very much for spending time with us. We got more coming up here from Manoa. Flight number 1 coming right after this.
Welcome back to the Ching Beach Volleyball Courts on the campus of the University of Hawaii. Flight number 1 coming up momentarily. The top flights for both Hawaii and Nebraska. But earlier in flight number 5 was Lapani and Drews over Nebraska easily in 2 sets. In flight number 4, it was UH also winning. Look at those scores, 21-9, 21-8. Ozzy and Homayan easily with the victory. So Hawaii won the first 2 flights of the day. In flight number 3, Martin and Ludis in 2 over the Cornhuskers as well, 21-12, 21-16. So Hawaii won the first 3 flights, and of course you just watched Nebraska take flight number 2 in 3. So Hawaii has won the duel already, 3 matches to 1, but coming up next should be a good one. Emily Maglio, Kaiwi Schucht against Lauren Stivrins and Kelly Hunter. This is what we call the main event of the night. So regardless that Hawaii has won the match, This should be a good one between these two.
This should be a great one between these two. We're looking at Kelly Hunter, the 5'11" senior, Big Ten Setter of the Year, National Player of the Year. And then Hawaii, Emily Maglio, Beach All-American, Indoor All-American, and Kaiwi Schucht, who's been just dominating her whole career. She's a senior, and she was just been doing a great job. She's a little undersized, but I'll tell you what, do not let her size fool you. She was all Big West last year. There you see their season record. They've been playing #1 and also #2 this year, and so far they're doing well.
Oh, they went 2-0 over the weekend at the Outrigger at Queens Beach. On Saturday, they were the flight #2. On Sunday, they're flight #1. You saw they're 13-3 as a pair this year. They come in having won 4 in a row. And Emily Maglio, I mean, what can you say about her as not only a great indoor player, but maybe the future is brighter for her on the beach?
Well, it's interesting, you know, she played last year in the #3 slot with Laurel Weaver, who we just watched and played, and last year she was not named an All-American on the beach. Her freshman year, 2016, she was an All-American. She played and teamed with a gal by the name of Katie Spieler. Now, this year indoors, this is getting a little confusing, but she was an indoor All-American. So if she becomes an All-American this year, she'll be the first player ever to do that in Hawaii's history.
Well, Nikki Taylor was an All-American, but not first team indoor, right?
Right.
All right, let's take a look at the ABC Top 20 poll. And there you see Pepperdine #1 this week. UCLA, who Hawaii has faced twice already this year, winning 1 of the 3 meetings. At second, Hawaii moved up from 5th to 3rd because they beat the 4th-ranked team USC twice over this weekend. Long Beach State out of the Big West. And there you have Florida State, Cal Poly, another Big West school. South Carolina, who Hawaii will see next week. And the bottom 20, there you see the rest of the schools. Florida Atlantic checking in at 8-8, cracking the top 20 of the ABCA poll. By the way, no Nebraska. And that's because Nebraska doesn't commit themselves to a full season. They'll go over to Irvine this weekend and wrap up their year. But that's the only unranked team Hawaii has faced this year, have been the Cornhuskers.
And I think it may be purposeful. You know, they want to play the best. They want to be the best. Jeff Hall has said it again and again. Our goal is to win a Big West championship and get down and play in the national championship.
Well, Hawaii's won the last 2 Big West championships, and something special this year, they will host the Big West Championship April 27th and 28th and 29th down at Queens Beach. So people get a chance to see the Big West tournament in person if you can find parking in Waikiki.
That's right, and you know, it's a great venue. If you want to learn about or come see some great volleyball, that would be the time to do it.
So it'll be Emily Maglio, the 6'3" junior out of Coquitlam, British Columbia. Kaiwi Schucht, 5'9" senior out of Escondido, California, going against Nebraska's Kelly Hunter, 5'11" senior out of Papillion, Nebraska, and Lauren Stivrins, a big one at 6'4", redshirt freshman out of Scottsdale, Arizona. This should be fun.
This should be really fun to see because you've got 2 really big blockers and you got 2 really great defenders. Kaiwi Schucht played last year with Nikki Taylor.
And did quite well with Nikki Taylor.
She did.
So the Bows have already won the duel. 3 matches to 1, but they'd like to make it 4-1 at the conclusion of this one. So Kelly Hunter, the well-decorated indoor setter for Nebraska, serves it. We're underway. Schucht with the bump to Mags. Mags rolls it down the left side. Easy point.
And Schucht with a great set. She's played a lot of sand volleyball, and she knows this game. She also knows this court very well.
So Schucht lines it over. Hunter back over to Hunter from Stivrins and hits that one far. Kelly Hunter, mentioned first team All-American setter, has won 2 national championships in her career at Nebraska indoor. Big Ten setter of the year. I mean, you can go on and on. PrepVolleyball.com, National Player of the Year. Here comes Hunter. Hunter dug up, rolls, kept it alive momentarily, but unable to get it over by the Cornhuskers.
It's going to be interesting to see University of Hawaii right now. Schucht serving, she's got the advantage with the wind in her face, but they're going after Kelly Hunter right now. Very interesting.
Hunter has, that one's right on the line. That's an ace. Hunter has bloodlines with the Cornhuskers. Her mom back in the late 70s was a setter, and her dad actually played baseball in the Boston Red Sox organization.
She's got the genes.
She's got the genes. Here comes the overpass. Schucht to Mags. Schucht looks it over, finds the Bufa.
And again, do not let her size fool you. Schucht is an amazing volleyball player. She was the most outstanding player in the Queen's Cup last year. At her size, listed at 5'9", but I'd say she's probably about 5'7".
There's another overpass. A win may have helped that one. Maglio will take a whack. No, she'll just place it onto the sand. A 6-0 run to begin this first set for Hawaii.
Yep. And surprisingly enough, Nebraska not slowing things down by taking a timeout or a sand timeout or something.
Well, you can't ask for a floor wiper in beach volleyball, right?
No, you can't.
We do see that indoors quite a bit. Here comes Hunter, looks over the landscape, off the hands of Maglio. Nebraska gets on the board. 6 of the first 7 points in favor of the Rainbow Wahine, who will switch sides.
And that's when you say, well, we scored the points we needed to on the side we needed to. You want to try to score all your points on the good side.
Well, Stivrins will go back to serve. 6'4", an inch taller than Maglio. Redshirt freshman this past year indoor, not only won a national championship, but named to the All-Big Ten freshman team as a middle blocker. That one's going to be mishandled. Mags gets to it, and Schucht will pop it high in the air. Let their defense get set. Stivrins tries to roll it off Mags. She can't. Kept alive, freed over. Maglio punches it over. One-hand dig. Hunter gets to it, but that's about it. Yeah, right now, you know, the first flight we watched, flight number 2, the two teams seem pretty evenly matched. This one doesn't appear to be right now.
Not so much. It's just very Maglio, they are dominating this match right now, starting from the service line, and they are really just jumping out to a quick head start.
And we'll get Maglio going over the net onto the Nebraska side, so a point for the Cornhuskers. And Maglio, a junior for beach volleyball, and has already said she will be back next year.
Yeah, she's made a verbal commitment. I mean, she's done indoors with her indoor playing, but looking forward to coming back and starting her masters and playing more beach volleyball.
Here's Schucht, good shot from Schucht.
Baby Schucht doing a nice job, majoring in family resources. From Escondido, California. Lots of California girls on this Hawaii squad this year. There's 21 players on the roster.
There's a block attempt from Maglio. She gets it. But Schucht, obviously, with the first name Ka'ivi, has ties to Hawaii. She has her father's from Oahu and has a lot of relatives here.
I'm sure she's so happy to be here playing.
There's going to be an ace by Schucht.
Look at that serve. She's just going strong and hard, keeping the ball on Kelly Hunter, making her pass. Remember, Kelly Hunter is a setter by trade, so they're really going after her, making her contact that first ball.
Let's float over to Stivrins. They'll bump it back to Stivrins. The big hit, one hand, popped around, overpass. Good job defensively, Hawaii. Stivrins will try once more. Overpass, pushed over again on the first contact by Stivrins.
Little tennis there, a little beach tennis, if you will. Again, you don't have to play 3 hits, and sometimes those broken plays actually can be momentum changers.
3 serving 10. That one goes under the net. A little embarrassed, I think, is Stivrins on that shot. Let's check out the first Hawaiian Bank top 3. It's Hawaii career dual wins. Look at Ka'ivi Schucht. She is tied with Nikki Taylor going into tonight with 73. So if she and Maglio, who sits at number 3, can win, Ka'ivi Schucht would be the all-time career dual wins player.
That's right, and that's huge for her. You got to look at that. That's a lot of wins in dual competitions. So kudos to her for just being truly committed and really working her way into this program.
But that may be just a 1-year record, because we saw Emily Maglio only about 10 behind, right? And she's coming back next year. Ka'ivi Schucht is a senior.
Yes, this is true.
And they play together, so you can't separate from Maglio.
Well, it's very relative, because so much of this game is the chemistry with you and your partner.
Maglio takes a big swing, but she gets roofed by Stivrins.
Stivrins, a redshirt freshman, doing a nice job at 6'4". She was named an indoor All-American honorable mention this year. Also trains with USA Volleyball.
You know, when you're looking at the roster for Nebraska, they're all, that one, somehow Maglio gets it over, mistiming the jump with Stivrins and a point for Hawaii, but all their players are indoor players. And then you start reading their bios, and every one of them was some kind of an All-American. And then you start thinking, well, yeah, they won the national championship, right? They must be pretty good indoors, all of them. There's a line drive serve for an ace.
And that serve was a line drive ace. She's serving from the middle back. Very hard to know where she's going to go from that. She moves her ball around so well.
That one mishandled by Stivrins. Back-to-back aces by Schucht, and this one has been all Hawaii.
And notice the tempo. Ka'ivi going back, grabbing a ball immediately and keeping the pressure on the Cornhuskers.
That one hit a mile long off the fence. Hawaii up by 10, their largest lead of this opening stanza. Hawaii already up 3 matches to 1, so they have won the duel. They have improved to 14-3. And there's going to be an overpass handled by Maglio. Back to Meg, runs up and takes a whack at it and crushes the coconut in the back row. And there'll be a timeout on the sand. All Hawaii, 16-5, they lead.
Rainbow Wahine Beach Volleyball on Spectrum Sports is sponsored by Straub and Hawaii Honda Dealers.
Back at the beach volleyball courts on the UH campus Ching Complex, in Hawaii here in flight number 1 has led from start to now 16-5. Maglio and Schucht leading the action. Even Schucht will serve it over. They'll bump it over and hit and dug up by Maglio. Off the swing by Hunter. There's a roll over Hunter and down into the back row. Would you call that the back row?
No, I wouldn't. A deep court.
Deep court, okay. There you go.
Deep court. But KV Schucht doing an incredible job from the service line, really just putting a lot of pressure on the Cornhuskers, going after her serve, and Maglio doing a nice job decision making.
Cornhuskers get a point there. Not quite sure who's supposed to go back and serve. It'll be Lauren Stivrins. Huskers will fly out, I would imagine, probably tomorrow for their Friday finale in Irvine. 3 matches on Friday to end their season. High bumps it for Maglio, takes a big swing, and she almost looked like a middle blocker there with that hit.
She did, and again, a great first pass by Maglio. She lays it out off of a really tough serve, but Ka'ivi giving her a great set, sees that she's on the ground, puts enough height in it for Emily to recover.
Stivrins to Hunter. Hunter mishits that one too long. And it looks like right now UH's goal is to serve Hunter to make her attack. She's the shorter of the 2 players on the sand.
Yeah, and to make Stivrins set. They know she's raw, they know she's young, so to make her set is the key.
There's Hunter again. Stivrins can't get to that one. There'll be an ace for Maglio, and just like that, it's set point here in the first for Hawaii, 20-6 over Nebraska.
Nebraska has just been caught completely off guard. I don't think they know what to think.
Hunter. There's a nice diving dig by Schucht. Schucht will get back up, hit the ball off the hands of Stivrins, and UH made that one look easy as they pull out the first set by the score of 21-6. UH leads 1-0 here in flight number 1. Time now for the Fujitsu air conditioning cool play. Nebraska's serving. That Stivrins floats it over. Nice diving dig by Maglio. Pops back up after the high set for Schucht and gets it down for the point. That was a cool play. Hawaii won the first. Looking forward to a cool second set.
Back here at the sandbox in Manoa, start set number 2. During that break between sets 1 and 2, Hawaii head coach Jeff Hall talking to his team about the aggressiveness of Hawaii serving. He liked the fact that they put pressure from behind the service line and encouraged his team to do the same. On the Nebraska sideline, the coaching staff talking to their players about bringing everything down, meaning their bump sets, their passes, everything they feel needs to be brought down so it's being less impacted by the wind. Back over to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Stay warm, my friend. And Nebraska gets the first point. Start set number 2. Hawaii won the opening set 21-6. Hawaii winning the flights of 3, 4, and 5 already. Dropped the second flight, which we had for you earlier, and there's a miscommunication. Goes off both Schucht and Maglio.
And that's Nebraska's first lead. Let's see if they took that little break after set 1 to re-energize and recoup and try to make this match a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, you got to imagine they can play a lot better than they did in that first set, being Nebraska. So Schucht from the right side will cut it across court, knocks it down into the short court.
And this really is Nebraska's got to decide who they're going to serve, because Schucht does such a nice job seeing the court, and Maglio is so physical. It's a hard team to know who to serve.
Megs goes cross court. Stivrins will bump it for Hunter, and Hunter splits the 2 players for Hawaii. That one's a pretty good whack right there.
That was, and it was a great set, and you got to think that maybe they're back. They got a little bit of energy. I think that first game was a little bit tough for them.
And I would think it'd be tough for Hawaii in the sense that they won so easily. Maybe they're blocked and bumps it overpass. Stivrins gets a chance, but she is stuck by Emily Maglio.
Maglio again, she's kind of back to where she left off indoor. Her block is just massive.
But you win that first set 21-6. I would imagine you're focused. You have to refocus yourself here in the second set.
You got to let that one go. I think they wanted that game to be over when Hawaii hit like 15. The separation was so great.
Schucht serve. Too long.
Hawaii really trying to go after Kelly Hunter. Make her pass.
Maglio. Schucht gets to it. Back to Meg. She sees the open court. Good effort by Hunter to dive and try to dig it up. And we've reached 7 combined points. 4-3 Nebraska. So the two sides will switch, and Hawaii now will be serving into the wind.
Yes, let's see if Emily Maglio goes for a deep floater. She's got a great serve. Remember now, oftentimes indoors, we didn't see her serve. In beach, she's got to do it all.
That serve. The wind must have calmed down a bit right there, right? She misses it by a foot or so. So a much more competitive second set than what we saw in the opener. As the freshman off Scottsdale, Arizona serves that one out of bounds. This group of Hunter and Stivrins, they played together a year ago and went 6-6 as a pair. So they're very comfortable with one another, and they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. That one into the twine.
And they played together because Stivrins came in. She didn't play. She redshirted on the indoor, and they wanted to get her some more experience. So she went out and played the beach, and so this year was her first true indoor season. But it's her second beach season.
Maglio pokies it over. Nice dig by Stivrins. Will turn around, and then she wanted to slap it over the net. The pesky twine got in the way.
A lot of unforced errors going on. You have to think a little bit of the fatigue factor. They've had a long week here in the islands. Both sides, Hawaii hosting the Outrigger Invitational this past weekend. And then this is the last game of the evening.
Maglio reaches over, stops that one. Can she do it again? No, she can't. Off the hands of Schucht in the deep court.
Kelly Hunter doing something we haven't seen all night, using her hands. You do not see a lot of hand setting out here on the beach, especially when there is wind.
Why is that?
Because it's a judgmental call. They tend to call it as a lift, or what we would say a throw. It's also a very learned skill.
So Hawaii once again within a point. Won the opener 21-6.
Maglio snuck a little peek there and took a look before she hit the ball.
Hunter. Dug up by Maglio. Schucht back to Megs. Megs so good at finding the space, open spots.
So good too at dropping off the net. She saw the net, the set was a little bit off, so she dropped. She played defense, and then she listens so well to the call.
So Hawaii's come back to tie it for the first time here in the second set. There you see 10 kills for Maglio. Schucht to serve. Ka'ivi goes cross court with her serve. Bumped over to Hunter. Hunter, one arm dig or one hand dig. Back up is Schucht. Schucht off the block. Nice save by the Huskers. They'll free it over. Here comes UH. Maglio. Schucht. Schucht dug up on the first contact. Nice save by Maglio. Maglio then turns around and hits it into the net.
You're gonna like that she turned and tried to stroke that ball. It was a good drop and pick up by Maglio.
Good play by both sides. Jeff Hall, fourth-year head coach, but now, finally, a full-time coach for the beach volleyball team. That serve goes long. I got a question for you, though. Last year, they changed it to beach. It was sand the first 5 or 6 years. But they always refer to the Hawaii team as the sand bows, even now. Why not make it beach bows? That just sounds better anyway, doesn't it?
I agree. Well, you know, maybe you can suggest that.
I'll have to talk to Jeff, see what kind of influence I have.
Things are always changing around here, especially in the game of beach. Go Beach Bows.
There you go, right?
There we go.
Maglio crushes that coconut. It goes off of not only Stivrins, but Hunter, then off the fence and onto the football practice field. That was a powerful shot there by the All-American Maglio.
Getting a full swing on the ball.
Second contact hit by Stivrins.
And again, one of those unbroken, or what we call an unbroken play, when you play it on 1 or 2, you catch the defense not really ready for the ball.
Is that one where you kind of have to pick your poison, kind of like a setter in indoor trying to dump the ball? You don't want to do it all the time, but once in a while it works.
Absolutely, but you will start seeing some teams play a lot of balls on 2. USC does a lot of on 2 balls.
Of course, Hawaii this past weekend beating USC not just once, but twice, and they had only won one of the first 12 meetings between the 3-time defending national champions, and we're going to start calling them the Beach Bows.
Jeff Hall said he got the monkey off of his back, right, when he finally got the opportunity to USC.
Stivrins gets the block, and Nebraska now up by 3 as we go to break. That's fun in the sand here in Manoa, Hawaii, and Nebraska. 12-9 Huskers here in set number 2. Hawaii won the first set easily, 21-6. Big kill there by Maglio.
Maglio getting a perfect set right in the middle, straight up set from Ka'ivi, doing a nice job just around the block, working it.
I mentioned Hawaii will head to the East Coast after this to Columbia, South Carolina for the Gamecock Challenge. Play 4 matches in 2 days. UNC Wilmington, South Carolina, Florida Gulf Coast, and UAB. And that is a smart move because it helps your RPI in a sense. And also, as Coach was saying, in between sets, there's going to be an ace by Nebraska. That also, it comes down to, let's say, an at-large. If you have the wins over the East Coast teams, the West Coast will get the at-large.
Yeah, and I think all the programs are doing that now. Exactly. They're trying to do a lot of moving around. They call them the East meets West, or just move things around, because we were just talking about this. There's probably over 75 Division I beach volleyball teams in the country now.
Well, Hawaii did participate in the East meets West Challenge earlier this month in Manhattan Beach. They went 3-1. Hunter, big swing. getting interesting now because you played a 21 and it's 15-11 Nebraska.
And Hawaii has the side, but the wind has stilled here just a little bit.
Schucht gets it down. Well, it's funny, you look at Hawaii and they've got those yoga pants on. I don't know what they're exactly called. And they've got sleeves on their T-shirts. And Nebraska looks like it's a 75-degree sunny afternoon.
Well, it is to them.
To them it is, right?
That's right.
That serve will be in. It's an ace for Hawaii. So now they've cut the deficit down to 2. The two sides think they're supposed to switch, but not quite yet. We're going to get, I'm not quite sure what we're going to get.
They're questioning the call, and they're going to go check the ball mark right now. Both refs coming down, checking where the ball mark is. You can do that if it hits any part of that tape. It's a tape line, then it's considered in.
Well, it certainly looked in from our vantage point, but we don't have as good a look as the line judge. And let's see if you can tell from right here.
Tyler Hildebrand got up immediately and said that was out.
It's close.
Very close. And it was a late call.
So they will say that it was an ace, that it was in. Or will they reverse it? Looking at the scoreboard, looks like they reversed it. They'll say it was out, and it's now 16-12 Nebraska. And so Tyler Hildebrand, coaching his last match with the Cornhuskers, gets the call overturned. Back to action. Maglio and company need to make up some points. That helps.
Maglio doing a nice job taking care of the first ball. Again, indoors, she doesn't get the opportunity to pass. Out here, she has to play as a passer and also as a hitter, but she's got to take care of her first ball.
That one ripped. Taken by Nebraska. Hunter off the hands of Meg. Diving, dig, and save on the next contact. It's hit over. Cornhuskers with another chance. Hunter. Nice dig by Schucht. Bumped up to Schucht. Schucht cuts it and gets it to fall. Oh, terrific defense by Emily Maglio.
Maglio really moving it out and diving after this ball. That's a one contact. There's her second contact, which means the third has to go over the net.
Giving chase and getting to that one somehow. But the block of Stivrins by Maglio. And that's a tough play. Having to go all the way out of bounds to retrieve the ball. It was Kelly Hunter. Good effort just to get it and keep it on their side.
And not only keep it on the side, but give a 50-50 set. That was a beautiful set. Here you take a look at it. Look at the location right to the hitting arm.
Schucht gets it. Maglio chases it down. Schucht. Nice dig by Hunter. Hunter will take a slap at it. Maglio's right there. Back to Emily. Emily cross court but dug up by Hunter. Hunter pushes it, cut court, and gets it off the hands of Schucht. Smart play there by Kelly Hunter, realizing that would be a very difficult play for Kaiwi Schucht to handle.
She's seeing the court really well, but running balls down as well. And same with Emily Maglio, doing a nice job drop blocking, if you will. Kaiwi Schucht getting a good hand on that ball.
2-point lead for Nebraska, trying to force this to a third. Maglio winds up and puts it down.
Maglio hitting the ball almost like there's not even a blocker there, just working it around. Very, very nicely done.
I don't know if some people can hear it in the background, but cowbells coming from the Hawaii side.
From the Hawaii side, not the Nebraska side.
That's going to be tough, and right there with the palms is Maglio.
And if I were Nebraska, I'd try to keep the sets a little bit off the net. When they're too tight like that, Maglio's going to win most of the time.
Yes,
keep it off a little bit.
And Maglio will serve, knotted up at 17. That's a good serve. That's going to be over and pushed down by Emily Maglio.
Another tight set. It's exactly where Maglio likes it. Into the hands of Emily Maglio. It really puts the person on offense in trouble.
So UH now has come from behind, taken the 1-point advantage. 3 points away from the win. up by Schucht. Turning around on second contact, and Maglio blocked, but she saves it, pushed over by UH. Stivrins gets it down on the right side. Nice job by Lauren Stivrins.
Stivrins listening well to Kelly Hunt, telling her to go down the line. Hunter yelling line.
Win to the back now of Stivrins. Schucht with the high bump for Maglio. Maglio with the point.
Again, Maglio just taking care of that first contact, passing a first ball really nicely. Schucht doing a nice job setting her always to the hitting arm.
Schucht as the wind picks up. Back over to Hunter. Hunter, two-hand dig by Schucht. Maglio. Schucht blocked. Stivrins at all 6'4", right there waiting for her. We're tied again at 19.
I don't think that Schucht actually saw her up. I think she thought she was down. She was jumping almost backwards with the ball coming over her left shoulder.
That one is shanked by Maglio, and now the Cornhuskers 1 point away from forcing this to a third set like we saw on flight number 2. But first, Hawaii will call a timeout.
And that's a good timeout. Nebraska with some momentum going, serving tough, a shank ball, slow it down, bring the momentum back to your side of the court.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of Emily Maglio so far today. 2016 All-American on the beach. Off 1 foot, Mags gets the kill, showing her blocking prowess as well. This has a way of finding the open spots on the court. Maglio well on her way, I think, to another All-American honor here in her junior year on the beach. 16 kills for Mags, who said that even though her indoor eligibility is up, she still has another year on the beach, and she is going to come back working on her masters and play a little volleyball again.
I think she's having a really fun time on the
too.
beach team. And I think it's really improved. She's gained a lot of confidence, and she's had some great partners through the years, and she's just really grown.
And for Kaiwi Schucht, a win here would make her the all-time duels leader in victories. Well, there you see KHON2's Rob DeMello. Of course, works on the Game On crew for football. Some other things with Spectrum Sports, but his real job, his day job, which is not day because it's night. Looking at his watch to make sure that he gets back in time for the 10 o'clock news. So the two teams now hear the whistle, which means the timeout is over. And we'll see if Hawaii can rally or if Nebraska can do like they did in flight number 2 and make this go to a third. Hawaii's already won the duel, 3 matches to 1. So that part is academic. This is all about pride and wanting to win, just being a competitor. After serve, Maglio handles that one a lot better. Back to Megs. Megs hits it wide and out of bounds. And that means that we will go to a third set, which is a bit of a surprise when you consider how easily handled Nebraska by Hawaii in that first set, 21-6. But you got to give credit to the Cornhuskers, particularly to Kelly Hunter, obviously, and Lauren Stivrins, to not hang their head, but to come out ready to play in the second set.
That's right, and you know, it just goes to show you how quickly things can turn around. Kaiwi Schucht doing a fabulous job in game 1, just bombing away from the back line with her serving. And then in game 2 here, Hawaii struggling a little bit more errors on the serving and hitting out, but Cornhuskers came back and they wanted it.
Do you think Hawaii was a little hesitant in that second set? Not playing at the same level, obviously, as they did in the first set. So what do you do here where it's a shorter set? You played a 15. What do they need to get back to win this match?
They need to play free and not get in their own heads. They need to not think about the errors. The Cornhuskers came out and actually challenged them. In game 1, they really weren't challenging them at all. They didn't basically show up. But this is a great challenge for these two to come back and start with their foot on the pedal from the service line first.
Well, let's look again at the flights from earlier today, and we'll start with flight number 5. Hawaii winning it 2-0. Zalapany and Drews picking up the victory in that one. That gave Hawaii a 1-0 lead. Flight number 4 again, all Hawaii Ozi Hawaiian easily over McLennan and Densberger. 9-8 the total for Nebraska. So that made it 2-0 Hawaii in terms of matches. In flight number 3, Hawaii picked up the win as the third flights won. Martin and Lutis 21-12, 21-16. Then our first televised flight, it was Nebraska coming from behind to win it 2-1 over Hawaii's Weaver and Kahn. And here we sit in flight number 1, tied at a set apiece, going to a third and deciding best of 15, get the 15 first, win by 2 for UH and Nebraska. And if you're the Cornhuskers right now, you're Stivrins and Hunter. You got to feel pretty confident. Leading up to this first flight, we thought this would be a pretty competitive one. Then after that first set, you thought, holy mackerel, what's going on? But Nebraska responded in the second.
And Nebraska serving and has the side advantage of my perspective. But Hawaii with that first point off of the little cut shot.
Now we're in the midst of one of those big gusts that is blowing down from the valley. And of course, Hawaii serving with the wind to their back. We'll see if that affects Schucht. It doesn't. Stivrins backpedal, slaps it over. There's Maglio, chased down by Schucht. The wind helped out that time. Gets it over, we play on. Bumped over. Schucht, Maglio on the right side. Schucht goes cross court, but it's two-hand dug up by Hunter. Hunter will take a shot with the roll, gets it to fall. In the back, to deep court.
Well, that was a nice rally, but a lot of balls going a little high in the wind, so we saw a lot of movement outside of the court chasing the ball down. Ryan alluded earlier to keeping the ball a little lower when it gets gusty.
There's Maglio. Sure to just punch it, and it goes too long.
And this is where Hawaii can get into a little bit of trouble off of the serve. Nebraska known for its tough serving, so they've got to try to take care of that first contact.
That one's floated over to Maglio. Maglio goes cross-court cock soup. She absolutely punished that one off the sand.
And I love this strategy. Serve Maglio short. She gets there. She gets a great set, and she just goes right inside the hand.
Stivrins up to Hunter. And that one, with the help of the tape, falls in on the Hawaii side. So now that's best of 15. They'll switch sides at increments of 5. It's 3-2 Nebraska. Hawaii won the opener 21-16. Nebraska came back, took the second set, 21-19.
It's going to be a little bit of a battle here. Both teams actually really hungry. You can see the energy on both sides of the court wanting this.
So the first team that gets to 15 wins by 2 will win this one. And there's one diving dig in the back row by Hunter. She'll be rewarded with the ball off the hands of Schucht. Giving chase but unable to get to it is Maglio. After that first set, this is a completely different Nebraska duel.
Oh, completely different. Like I said earlier, I think Hawaii put so much pressure from behind the service line. They just got in a rut. They couldn't do anything right. They wanted that game to end before anything.
Schucht pokies it over, diving attempt by Hunter.
Schucht bettering the ball. The set a little bit tight for Schucht, listed at 5'9", poking, doing the little pokey over the block there.
Hunter, first team All-American setter indoor for the national champ Cornhuskers. Big Ten setter of the year. Schucht digs up Hunter. Schucht into the deep court, off the hands and down for a point.
And Schucht, knowing the court so well here at the Ching Center, she sees the court well, but she's also just played the game for a long time. She's doing a deep jumbo shrimp into that corner.
Jumbo shrimp, that's our first jumbo shrimp of the broadcast.
That's right.
That one goes wide. And Hawaii now with the 1-point lead. Isn't that an oxymoron though? Jumbo shrimp.
Yes, it is.
Overpass, and Maglio makes them pay.
And you can thank Schucht for that. Her serving, again, getting on a little bit of a roll there. A 4-point run all in a row.
Maglio and Schucht looking to make it 5 in a row and improve their overall record to 14-3. And here's the overpass. And whenever you see Maglio there, you know that 10 out of 10 times she will put it down. So Hawaii now with the wind to their back. Line drive serve, bumped up to Hunter. Hunter dug up by Maglio. Schucht under it, bumps it up right side. Maglio takes a bit off that one, pinballs around, and falls to the sand. Meg's so good at doing that where she cocks her arm back like she's going to really punish the ball and then takes a bit off of it.
She's real consistent attacking to the ball. Her footwork and everything, she drives to the ball and then at the very last minute takes a little something off.
That serve ends a 5-0 scoring run by UH. You know, we're going to have more beach volleyball later on this season. Senior night, April 15th. Hawaii will take on the Sun Devils of Arizona State.
There are quite a few seniors on this team this year.
Maglio pops it down to her left.
What you gotta like about what Maglio is doing is she's holding her defense. So she's swung on a few balls and they're on their heels defensively, and now she's lightening the load with little shots. So she's got her defense holding.
Hunter's gonna look at an overpass and just tapping it down to her right is Maglio. Saw the block coming up, realized it, knew that she'd be safe by just positioning it.
And Maglio still going after Hunter, really serving her every ball.
This 4-point lead, the biggest by Hawaii in this third set. And that one knocked down by Hunter. So the two sides will switch. Hawaii now will be with the win in their face.
And Hunter getting a good approach to the ball. Maglio channeling the ball cross court, but Hunter doing a nice job.
Might see Hunter as the Olympic setter eventually.
I would not doubt it. I'm sure that Coach Karai and staff are looking strongly at her with 2 national championships under her belt.
We saw a 3-time Olympian walking on the track earlier, Robin Amo Santos, right?
There you go. They're everywhere. They're all around us.
Oh yeah, those Olympians.
Some serious talent.
And Wynn playing havoc with that one, but the Huskers able to hit it over. Maglio is going to be blocked by Stivrins, a rare.
Stivrins jumping into her angle there, showing line, and at the last minute dropping into her left. Here you'll see it on the replay. She jumps into it. She lines up with her right shoulder, but then she jumps to her left.
1-7 Hawaii lead. That serve down the line, is it good? It is. That'll be an ace. Sure thought it would go wide, but it did not. And here comes Nebraska, only down by a deuce.
Let's see if they make a little bit of an adjustment on their serve receive.
That's a good serve. Good effort by Maglio, and somehow she gets it over. And then ending it to Stivrins. But wow, what a great defense by Hawaii just to keep that going. 3-0 scoring run by Nebraska. They have cut the lead down to 1. This is set number 3. You played a 15, so it's pretty interesting the way this one is turning out. After that 21-6 thumping by Hawaii in the first set, Nebraska comes back, takes the second 21-19, and only a 1-point lead for Hawaii in the third. Now this will have nothing to do with the outcome. Hawaii has already won, but you're looking at a Maglio-Schucht pair that has been on a roll. They've won 4 in a row, looking to improve their mark to 14-3, and Kaiwi Schucht trying to become the all-time duels winner with the win with Maglio tonight. So there is a lot on the line.
There is a lot on the line. There's a lot of wind coming and going as well, but Nebraska knows that as well, and you can't teach what both of these teams are doing. They're very competitive right now, so it's really a matter of slowing things down. So give credit to Hawaii, taking a little break. Cornhuskers really putting pressure again from the service line, starting it from back there, going from sideline to sideline on that last play, and then creating what we call an option play where they took a free ball, the first contact, which was a free ball, and playing it over on 2. Again, Hawaii's defense not necessarily ready for the 2 contacts.
You see Tyler Hildebrand, he's working hard, even though after tonight he'll be leaving. And there you see Jeff Hall looking like he's ready for a nap. And Evan Silverstein assistant coach. Danny Alvarez has been with this program since day one with Scott Wong.
7 years.
Yep, in his 7th year.
As a volunteer, yeah.
But he's more than a volunteer, right? I mean, that's just a title.
Oh.
I mean, he's the Mr. Do Everything.
He's been doing everything, and until Jeff Hall got this job as a head coach permanently, full-time, Danny Alvarez and Evan were doing a lot of work with this program. You know, he's been the mastermind behind a lot of it. He's been involved with sand volleyball, or excuse me, beach volleyball for years.
Well, typically at this time of year, the indoor team would be practicing and have a spring game coming up. So the last couple of years when we've done these, some of the players like an Emily Maglio have been doing both sports. But for Megs, obviously, she's POW with the indoor game.
That's right. We're not seeing as many indoor players cross over from the indoor team.
Maglio gets it off the fingers and down. And I think that was the goal from day one, to eventually make this an all-beach volleyball team and not have to use indoor players as well, even though it does help them in the indoor game.
Certain players can transition over, like a Maglio or a Nikki Taylor.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them can do both. I mean, at a high level.
Right. Cross-court serve is going to end up being overpass. Maglio gets to it. Schucht back to Megs. Megs dug up by Hunter. Hunter pops it into the back row. Nobody was there. Schucht and Maglio were on the same side of the court. Easy point, easy kill. Back to a 1-point deficit for Nebraska.
Nebraska just keeping that ball in play on a little bit of a scramble.
The wind played havoc with that one. That was like a knuckleball from Phil Necro. And we're tied at 11 apiece.
It was like a knuckleball. Just bottomed out.
Tied for the 4th time, this time at 11. Hunter ready. That one into the net. He says thank you very much. And Schucht will walk back behind the service line.
Let's see who she goes, if she goes back to Kelly Hunter.
She does. I set for Hunter, and she just mishits that wide. I think she had an idea of what she wanted to do, but just couldn't execute it. And now there'll be a timeout, I assume called by Nebraska, 13-11 Hawaii leading. And you know, you look at Hawaii and what they've done this year. We talked about the fact that they won both those matches over the weekend against USC. They started the season off opening weekend winning 5-0 to UCLA. Now they've dropped the last 2 meetings against the Bruins, but USC at number 4, UCLA at number 2. The number 1 team, Pepperdine, not on the schedule this year. They typically will play the Waves, not this season, but where Hawaii's positioned right now with their record, with their strength of schedule, the teams they've played, I can't imagine they won't be at the NCAA tournament in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
I agree. I can't imagine that either. And actually, the only other loss they had was to Florida State, I believe it was. And so Hawaii with 3 losses, 2 to UCLA, which they beat. So things can change up. And you got to remember that these flights, these 5 different pairings, they can move them around. And so far this season, the 1 and 2 have flip-flopped just a little bit. These 2 playing at the number 2 slot earlier this year. So when you move things around, it does change outcomes.
When you look at what UH has been able to do, what they have coming up, you would have to say Hawaii is a national title contender?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's anybody's game. They are ranked number 3 in the nation right now. They took 3rd last year. That's what they did last year. That's how they finished the year. But I think they've got a lot of depth. I guess that's my point. So I think that, yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it.
So the timeout is over. They'll switch sides. UH up by 2. Actually, their bench was on the other side, so they didn't switch sides, but Hawaii will be serving from our left to right. Schucht serves it down the line. Stivrins to Hunter. There's Maglio the dig. Schucht back to Megs, and she gets it over the top and down behind Stivrins. And now it is match point, and now they'll switch sides.
Now they'll switch sides. That's right. Maglio and Schucht actually have played the number 2 slot 11 times this year. This is only the 5th time they're playing the number 1 slot.
Cowbells are ringing across the way at the Hawaii bench. Match point and the end of the evening, potentially. High pass. Stivrins over to Hunter. Off the hands of Maglio, and the Huskers remain alive in this one. With a little bit of a cushion, but not much. Only up by 2.
Not much, and let's see who they go to. Who do they serve? This is a tough decision here.
They'll go to Schucht. We'll get it from Maglio. We'll go across court, put it down, and Hawaii wins. So the Rainbow Wahine duo of Maglio and Schucht win it in 3. They take the third, 15-12. We'll take a break. Come back and have more from the beach courts on the UH Manoa campus.
Back here in the sand as Hawaii wins in 3. Flight number 1 pair of Emily Maglio and Kaiwi Schucht winning victorious, helping Hawaii with the 4-1 overall victory. We'll start off with you, Kaiwi. What was that match like? You guys had a pretty dominant performance in that first set, saw a couple of lull in the second set. How were you guys able to regain confidence going into the third?
I mean, it's been like that all weekend. Like our last day on Sunday, we were down 14-11, 13-10 in the third set. So I think for us it was pretty normal to be like that. But I mean, it's just staying together and communication for us, I think.
Emily, you know, over your career here on the beach, you've had an opportunity to play with multiple partners. What is it like playing with Kaiwi? I know she's standing right here next to us, but what is it like playing with Kaiwi, and what are some of the things that you enjoy playing with her?
It's a lot of fun. She brings a lot of energy, which is good. It really, brings me up because I'm pretty quiet, so it's nice having like the contrasting. We make like a nice balance. But yeah, it's just good. It's just a lot of excitement and a lot of good volleyball.
You know, you guys had a great weekend overall, but now you guys are taking the show on the road, going all the way to the East Coast. What do you think you guys have to do to prepare for that long road trip that's ahead of you guys?
I think it's mental. I mean, we started off our last road trip a little iffy and ended it really good. So I think for us, it's just playing our game instead of like thinking about everything else. I think for us, it's playing our game and staying consistent.
Well, Kaiwi and Emily, thank you very much. Congratulations and best of luck to you guys on the road. We'll send it back up to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. And Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the match. Annika Albrecht for Nebraska, flight number 2, 14 kills, 3 blocks and 10 digs. And in flight number 1, Emily Maglio, look at that, 24 kills, 5 blocks, 14 digs, and a service ace. So Hawaii wins it 4 matches to 1 to improve to 14-3 on the year. Nebraska drops to 3-12 now. Lisa, this team heads out all the way to South Carolina. Then before they come home, they'll stop on the West Coast as well. So your thoughts going forward for Jeff Hall's squad?
Well, I think a great weekend. A lot of volleyball, a lot of confidence built, and especially here at home down at Queens Beach as well as here at the Ching Complex. When you head out, obviously, things change, whether not necessarily partners, but just the environment. So I'm thinking this team is growing, and I love the confidence that they're seeing and the challenges that are being presented to them.
Thank you, Lisa. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great fun.
We'll do it again later on next month. That'll do it for us here this evening. Special thanks to our Spectrum Sports crew. They are the best in the business. For Ryan Calais Suji and for Lisa Strand-Ma'a, I'm Scott Robbs. Until next time, Bini Aloha and a good evening from the beach courts in Manoa.